Hey, 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 you're locked on to Jyneration Nation, LRS102.com. I am Jen Yates, the Generator, broadcasting live from the Launch Louisville studio down on East Broadway. Super pumped. I'm always super pumped. I got Britt Holsclaw up in the studio today. How are you, Britt?
That's cool.
That's cool, man. I knew you'd be the coolest person to have up in the studio.
That's cool. You know, I have to explain that's cool real quick.
That's cool. Go for it.
That's cool is kind of lazy for that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely lazy.
That's cool.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I just got my coffee. I went and picked up a bowling ball this morning.
Oh.
Fun stuff. I'm using a bowling ball in a new music video.
Oh, okay.
And I asked the internet if anybody had one to donate that I could smash up. And like always, they're like, hey, yeah,
Wow.
when you meet me for coffee, I'll bring you a bowling ball. You got to love this city. They're so creative and cool. And they're always willing to help out. So, Britt, you're a drummer.
Yes, indeedy.
And I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh, and I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank you. And I have gotten to jam with you. We've done double jams with Vista Light kits. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah, because do you still have the white Vista Light kit?
I still rock it.
Yeah.
I'm still rocking
For
it.
anybody who's listening that doesn't know, Vista Light was a series of Ludwig drums that came out in the 70s. They were the first
Acrolite.
Yeah, Acrolite series, I guess, and the first glass see-through.
Yep.
What's the word I'm looking for? Acrylic glass.
Yep.
Yeah, is what they're made out of. And they were the originals to kind of for Led Zeppelin, John Bonham,
Indeed.
and then, a ton of people used them. They're super loud drums.
Yes, the bass drums are always really nice.
I love those bass drums. In fact, just a year ago today on my Facebook memories, I had a picture of me playing that glass kit. And what's weird is I usually didn't play it a lot because it is so heavy.
Yeah.
When compared to like my 22 Black Panther kit or my little 14-inch Questlove pocket kit.
Which is cute. I've seen that kit.
Man.
And the snare. I've played that snare.
That snare is hot, isn't it?
Remember when we did those things with Ray Rizzo? What were those?
The Queen of Drag? Or wait, Queens of Drag?
Queens of Drag.
Yeah,
and we
Queens
did
of Pop
the
and
year
Queens of
before
Country.
that, I did one with him too. And I did some of those Jesus Christ Superstar things too.
Oh, you did?
But the Vista Lights came
jelly.
out for some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I just remember, I don't know how far we go back. Do you remember how we met?
Let's talk about that. Because I was thinking about it on the drive over.
Uh-huh.
I think it goes back to a show below the bowling alley. What was the
Vernon Lanes.
Vernon Lanes. Vernon Club.
On Story Avenue there.
We did a Ladybirds, your news vehicle show there.
That's right. Your Ladybirds, yeah.
And didn't we combine our Vista Light
That's the
kits?
Vista Light Kit show. Was that how we met? Wow,
Well,
I hope that's how we met.
We may have met before that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't put my finger on it.
We definitely go back way back.
That was the first show we did together. I know that.
And that's about 20 bands ago for me. That's how I measure my time, is which band I was playing in at the time or which girl I was dating at the time.
Ah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's how I measure my timeline. Because it gets shady.
Yeah.
Very... very gray in certain areas, depending on the 20s or the 30s.
And some things are going to overlap as we have our conversation unfolds today.
Oh, absolutely,
and down my timeline.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird.
So let's start by talking. First off, you brought me all kinds of music, from vinyl to CDs to...
Yes,
I'm
I
surprised you don't have a cassette tape over there. Some 8mm reel-to-reel or something.
I'm sure something's out there.
Yeah, I guarantee it is, yeah. People, you know what, Brett? People don't understand how important it is to get things on tape. And I've always understood the importance of that because my father was all about, 8mm reel-to-reel. We had the dual cassette tapes. We got the first CD when it came out. I was always hooking up stuff and recording things. And looking back now and the musicians I've lost in my life, it's actually a really great thing that I captured all of them on tape.
Wow. There's going to have to be some kind of big party.
Yeah,
when all that comes out.
Big release here in Louisville for it. Yeah. Because it's just interesting. I've always said that when we pass on, what we have left is our music legacy. People can always go back and listen to those tracks And and I, growing up as a kid, loved to do that. I loved to go through tracks and find new songs and listen to new things and find the weird cuts on vinyl
deep
records.
cuts.
Yeah, and the
Yes.
cassette tapes. I still collect the cassette tapes and have a cassette tape boombox. But yeah, it's super important to do that. So I love that you literally have so many different. You've had so many projects over the years. You still have like 4 bands right now.
I'm rotating 4 things right now.
Yeah.
For sure. So the Ladybirds was a big thing for me,
Right.
in that that led to other things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Great project, by the way, too. Loved playing
Thanks.
with you all.
Thank you.
Fantastic
I
group.
still have great memories of playing with the Ladybirds.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
Yeah. Is that now defunct completely?
It's now defunct.
Okay.
Sarah's,
But you can still get the records and stuff around town.
I believe there's some of our independent record stores here in Louisville.
Yeah.
Have a handful.
I always
here and
thought it
there.
was interesting that you named it the Ladybirds because of the Ladybirds being the Cardinal cheerleading squad.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That's a Jackson and Sarah thing. They named the band
Yeah.
years ago. The whole concept of the band was to be like a 60s girl group thing. There were backup singers before I joined the band.
Really cool, yeah. That's one thing I always love about you is a lot of your projects are a throwback to those 50s and 60s type bands.
I do. Most of the music that, is part of my DNA, comes from 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And a little bit into the 80s.
Yeah. I'm an 80s kid. So
Let's
I
talk
love
about
some
this
80s.
right now because
Sure.
I just had a milestone birthday in
Okay,
June. I just
congrats.
turned 50.
50? You do not look 50.
Oh, stop.
I'm on my way there, though. I'm on my way there.
So a lot of bands.
If I make it.
I've been in and out of a lot of bands since I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
The first
Yeah.
band I was ever in was a band called Spot.
Spot.
And we just
I
did a
love it.
reunion show a couple of years ago, and we rehearsed 2 doors down.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
814.
2 doors down, they're laughing and drinking and then having a party. Yeah, I love me some Dolly Parton. But that's wild. 2 doors down here
Yeah.
on Broadway.
Yeah,
You used to
yeah.
practice. So, Brett, you're from Louisville. right?
Yes, born, bred, and raised.
Born, bred, and raised.
I never took it to New York. I never took it to LA. I just kind of.
But you've toured all over.
I've toured,
Yeah.
yes. I toured a lot with the Glasspack.
Yeah.
And the Glasspack's going to do a show on September 7th.
What? Man, Glasspack throws it back to my early 20s.
Yeah, I haven't. We haven't really done a show in 10 years. There was a 10-year anniversary of the Glasspack show about 10 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
And
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's funny how the
time
Glasspack
flies.
is a band around here where if you're underground and into the original music scene, you definitely had heard of the Glasspack,
It's a loud band.
It was a loud band.
Hence the name.
Yeah. And I don't know if I ever got to play with you all, but I know when I was forming the Confessional and had the Dolly Crisis, the all-female bands that I was in
Oh, yeah.
in my 20s, that we would always rotate in and out musicians sometimes when we needed people.
Yeah.
Because we were really like a duo,
Uh-huh.
but we were, when we played, we had like a 4-piece on stage. But
Little-
the Glasspack was always just a name that was around the scene all the time back in that day.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a lot of the rotating musicians in and out with us were part of the Glasspack at some point.
Little Bucky.
Yeah, I was like, how many?
Andrew
how many?
Garrett. we used to call him
Andy,
Little Bucky.
Yeah, I ran into Andy the other day. I was filling up gas in a gas in the gas thing, whatever you call
Yeah.
that. Not in my car. It was the one you carry for the lawnmowers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just random. I hadn't seen him in years, but I was like, man, we got to play a show together coming up because we hadn't, we used to play together as a lead guitar and drummer.
Yeah.
Group. But anyway, yeah. So super cool about the Glasspack. What else you got? Because so you're reunited with them.
We're going to do a show September 7th, and I've been working on some new material with those guys.
Okay.
There's new material in the pipeline. A whole record has been written. I have finished 3 of the tracks,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
we'll see as it unfolds. They're
Again, bigger
they're
than
considering
original
them
music.
just demos at this point, but to me, they sound like a real record.
Yeah,
Just need
cool,
to be
man.
mixed and mastered.
That's so cool. What else do you have going on? Are you still playing with Wanda Jackson? Because I always thought that was a really cool project.
And that came out of the Ladybirds project. So Wanda has retired.
Right, I saw that.
She's,
and man,
she's 81.
as she should. Can we just give her a shout out?
Absolutely.
For any listener who does not know
Absolutely.
who Wanda Jackson is, you need to educate yourself.
Yes.
Especially if you want to know anything about country rock and roll. I mean, this lady was around when Elvis was doing his thing.
Well, there'd be
You
no
know,
Joan Jett if there wasn't.
Correct. There would be no Joan Jett if there wasn't a Wanda Jackson. Who else? I mean, anybody
Joan,
would come after her.
I should mention this too. Before Wanda retired, Joan actually went into the studio with Wanda and laid down some tracks. They did some demos.
Cool.
Yeah, I think 3 or 4 songs.
You can't go wrong with those
She
two.
wrote a few songs with Joan.
Yeah,
Jett.
that's super cool. And she's, I mean, gosh, I can't even imagine everybody she's worked with in her day, but she's toured with everybody.
Yeah, the list is pretty
She was
amazing.
doing music pretty much back in the 50s when, like, women were not supposed to be on stage doing music per se.
Right.
They were supposed to be in the home taking care of the kids and cooking
Right.
for the husband and all that BS that we have to deal with.
Well-
But, like, she said no, I'm gonna be a rock star.
Yeah.
And pretty much what has been, and I think she's forever concreted in our history of our fabric of
She's
music,
part of the fabric, yes.
the American music
I
stuff.
just want to suggest that if you do want to educate yourself about Wanda, of course, the music is out there on the internet.
And we're gonna play
you
some
could
today, right?
Well, I didn't really
maybe.
bring anything, but I figured we could call something up
Oh,
on,
yeah.
on the internet.
Oh yeah.
Classic Wanda track if we must. And
Sure.
I think we must.
Yeah, I think we must too, because I'm a big fan.
But I wanted to say, she just released last year her autobiography.
Oh.
It's called Every Night.
I need to read
Saturday
that.
night.
Every night's a Saturday night.
Yeah, let's
could
have a
see
party,
Yeah.
And she's
When you
all
toured
the
with
tales,
her, was she just real, like, super chill and cool?
super chill, super.
I bet.
She's very sweet. She's got a lot of stories.
I bet.
I might have to share a story or two,
Yeah,
but maybe
please
not.
do.
I've got to watch myself when
Yeah.
I'm live radio. Here.
I hear you. Understood. I have a ding bell here in case we get too crazy. I'm like, oh no. Yeah, I had a guest on Tuesday. I was ringing it every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't talk about. Oh, I guess you can talk. I love it when it gets rowdy, of course. So
Yeah.
I'm more of on that rowdy side of the fence.
Some of our best moments with Wanda were literally like after the show, the nightcap after the show,
I
or because she likes to sleep in. She sleeps in till noon, 1. What's the
Typical
point?
musician.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then she had a nightcap with us one night
Yeah.
at the hotel, and we had guitars out, and we were playing in the hotel bar. We closed the hotel bar down.
Love it. Where was this?
Playing
Nashville?
old
you
gospel
said?
songs with Wanda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Was
we've had little nightcaps with her in Nashville and.
Yeah. Does she live in
Rock-
Nashville? Is that her
Cleveland.
base?
She's in Oklahoma. I
Oklahoma.
believe she's yeah.
Oh
Oklahoma.
man, I just said my cousin just moved out there, and
Oh.
I actually acquired a dog from out there in Stillwater at one point, and dated a chick pretty much dated a chick in every state at this point. It seems like.
Wow. Wow. Better ring that bell.
I know, ring my bell. Oh yeah, well, single, no kids. You can do what you want. You travel around and have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about the other projects you got going on, and we definitely will spend a while on the track later on.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the shows we got coming up.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple things going on at the Limbo with my surf band.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to ask you about this. Okay, so I love surf rock. I'm a huge fan. I teach it a lot. Who doesn't love surf music?
Right.
Obviously, by the time I was 6, I was playing Wipeout, which I, by the way, just retired. I'm not going to play it anymore.
We only play it if someone yells it out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's like the Freebird of surf.
It is. It's the Freebird
If
of
someone
surf.
yells
It
out
really is
Wipeout,
Wipeout,
then-
yeah. Well, and it's just a standard that you must know if you're a drummer. Somebody's always going to, oh, can you do Wipeout?
Yeah.
My thing is I've done it so long, for so many years. We got some sirens going on there. You got to love
The
East
city is
Broadway, man.
alive.
It
The
is.
city
The
is
city is
alive.
alive. No, but I suffered some an arm injury, a neck injury, and it's got some nerve stuff pressing on my fingers, and I've got a lot of numbness. And nowadays, when I hit that snare drum, sometimes it's like a cattle prod shock. So I
Shockwave goes up your arm.
Exactly. Yeah, all the way through my body. Actually, it's kind of crazy feeling. It's definitely nerve stuff going on. But I took took a little fall and, and injured some stuff in October. And I have tried to do Wipeout several times since then, and it just felt like I couldn't do it to the ability that I really was comfortable doing it with.
Sure.
So I just kind of, at the Bev Memorial, retired it and said, I just don't think I can do it anymore because I don't want to be filmed going downhill with it. You know what I mean? When I've got all these great videos of doing it.
I'm sure you did your PT, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
yes.
Good. PT.
Yeah, I love that little back rolly thing that they make you do. They put you on the table and roll your back. Oh, so good. And they put the hot compresses on you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you just lay there.
So was it a shoulder injury?
Shoulder, it's neck, shoulder.
Wow.
I took a couple hits to the head and took a nasty fall. And something about that makes this, whatever, I can't remember the name of that bone right here, that claws into your shoulder, pop out of place and press against the nerves. And sometimes if I'm sitting and playing for long periods of time and I don't hold my body the right way,
posture,
or play the right way, I get those jolts. And then I constantly have nerve damage. I can barely feel any of my fingers on this side. Yeah, so my grip is really bad.
Is there some neuropathy issues, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about my injuries. That's why I retired Wipeout.
At 50?
Yeah.
And I'm happy at 50.
Good.
Those things they're happening.
Yeah, I know it, man.
Neuropathy and aches and pains and...
Yeah. Yeah, and kudos to any musician who's playing a physical instrument and has to deal with stuff like that. It's very, it's not like singing.
Surf music is like that. It's very active drumming.
Yes, active. That's why I love it. It's so exciting. And
I have to encourage those guys. Can we, like, every fourth song, can we do like a slow jam? And
sure. Yeah, why not?
Take a breath.
I love a slow jam.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, those are sexy. What I was going to tell you, though, is I always like to say educate. I educate my students on surfing is the only sport that has its own style of music. How cool is that?
That's very true.
It is. That's Basketball doesn't even have its own.
Jock jams?
Yeah, that doesn't count. Although I probably had every CD when they came out. I ain't gonna lie.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So what else you got going on? Talk about your gigs coming up.
Well, okay. So on the 23rd, the Get Down, the surf band, is playing at the Limbo Tiki Bar down on Chestnut Street. And then again on the 31st, a week later. So there's 2 gigs a week in a row, both at the Limbo.
Super cool space too, a tiki bar, man.
It's really perfect. I mean, we should.
Are you wearing a hula skirt?
No, but I like to wear a beachy shirt.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I love a beachy shirt, and I also love a chick in a hula skirt. Yeah, of course.
Well, and that crowd down there, they've been known to they have some grass skirts.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
I think Olivia, the girl that runs that place, she's got a little vintage clothing store.
Yeah,
kind of next door.
Oh, cool.
All kinds of little.
I love a vintage thrift store.
Beach shirts and grass skirts and yada yada.
So that's so crazy cool that you have a surf band.
Yeah, I did it. I was coaxed into this band when Bobby Falk left town. Bobby Falk.
I know Bobby.
Great drummer.
Yeah,
moved to Dallas with his wife, and he's jumped into the jazz scene down there. He's a great jazz drummer.
Yeah, he's always been a great jazz drummer around town.
And he was the original drummer in the surf band, and I just told him I'd keep the throne warm for him until he got back. Until he comes back to town.
I love that. By the way,
and it just keeps your chops up.
It does. Yeah,
playing surf
you're
music.
right. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's fun. Surf music.
I can bring
think
some of
fun.
that stuff to the other tables that I've.
Yeah, I would love to sit in and play something with you on
my
that.
God.
That would be so cool. Some kind of percussion-y something.
Well, there's certain things that I think a djembe or a conga would be cool for.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to look at that list. We know 52 surf songs.
I love that.
I'll look at that list and I'll get back to you.
I was like, are there 52 surf songs? I guess there are, man.
There are, and there's standards, and we're getting into some like Ventures deep cuts, talking about deep cuts there. Yes.
By the way, look at this. I've got the vinyl right here, the Ventures, the Batman theme, Green Hornet, Secret Agent, man.
What's the one on there? The
Joker's Wild.
No, there's one on there. Can I see the list?
Oh yeah.
Let me see that list.
Yeah. It's a super cool vinyl though. Can spin.
Oh, there we go.
We can spin vinyl here, and people are always giving us. Oh yeah, the cape. Is
the jam on this record.
Oh yeah, that's a great piece of vinyl history. I actually just got all of my vinyl. I mean, I've been meaning to bring them down here because I've got all kinds of like classic. Because I'd love to just collect random, strange, odd, pieces of music. Speaking
of strange and odd, the Ventures did like play along records.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Oh, I would love to hear that.
I've got
Do you have
2
copies?
of them.
Okay.
And then one, I found just the book, and it doesn't have the record.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Super rad. Well, I just love that you're in his surf band. So cool.
I guess I'm feeling a little landlocked. I've been in Louisville 50 years, and I just always crave the beach.
Yeah. Me too. I love a beach. Yeah.
So I'll conjure it.
I love the ocean. The ocean is my fave. And I really do love the West Coast ocean. I mean, it's just something so different about the West Coast versus the East Coast.
Yeah.
And I've pretty much seen every piece of ocean all the way up, from at least spanning from north of New York City all the way down into the Gulf, into like New Orleans
Did you
area.
make it to the Redwoods when you were out there? On the
No,
West Coast?
I wish I had.
Oh, it's
I was
beautiful.
so busy while I was out there, but I really wanted to
ocean
get
out
the
there.
music history stuff in. I did go to Malibu though, and I drove the one, and
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I just did a lot of cool stuff by myself, but I really loved being in California.
Well, when Glasspack toured the country twice, we made a point to do the one. The one-on-one.
Yeah, if you're ever out
on the
on
Redwoods,
that side of
camping was we did a lot of camping.
Oh wow, camping in the Redwoods, that sounds amazing.
Instead of hotels, a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Plus
I was
going to
tell you, for your surf rock band, I have, if you ever need one, I've got a 9-foot long surfboard, original from California in the 60s. Yes, and it was to go on top of my 73 camper bus that I just got.
Your surf buggy.
The Volkswagen Wanda, I named her.
Wanda.
Yeah, because face it, ladies, I'm older and have more insurance.
Word.
You got to when you have 2 cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we'd got a surfboard to go on top of that thing. So if you ever need one, I got you hook up.
Sweet.
It's those, nothing signifies California and surf more than a 73 camper bus. It's like they're just the camper buses, the Volkswagens just are synonymous with California.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So anyway, what else we got going on here? The Limbo, we want people to get down there. It's cool. Tiki bar place.
Yeah.
Chestnut, right?
Yep, on Chestnut. And then that Schnitzelberg thing's going on, too.
Yeah.
When is that? Let me look at that real quick.
I love me some Schnitzelberg. That's not too far from me.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Jackson Band is playing at Monic on September 14th, a week after the Glasspack show.
Okay. September 14th, man. That's a good date.
And we're going to play a track off that record, too.
Yeah. And we're talking about Jaxon Lee Swain,
yes,
of course, who
Jaxon
I
Lee Swain.
definitely want to get up on this show if he's listening.
Yeah,
Jackson,
yeah.
let's hook that up. I'm a big fan.
Well, I'll try to be a catalyst there for you on that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
As much as I can.
Brother, this is why you're my brother.
Oh.
I love that. Yeah. And I always loved you because you collect all these cool classic drum sets. You always have something interesting every time I see you.
Each kit that I've collected they all need a little work.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because they're vintage.
I'm looking for hardware, and especially vintage hardware, cymbal stands and whatnot.
What style? What brand?
I'm looking for any Gresh or Slingerland stands.
All right, if we got any drummers out there, they're listening.
Yep.
Gretsch, Slingerland.
Yeah. The surf kit I use. This is an interesting story.
Sure.
So I bought this is a blue Slingerland, blue speckled Slingerland, and it was once owned by Britt Walford from Slint.
Cool. All right.
And then
Represent
he
Slint.
sold it to Dominic Chipola, who's in the Phantom Family Halo. And he just recently joined a Japanese band, and he's been touring the world with this Japanese band called Mono.
All right.
And they recently played headliners.
Gotta love that.
So Dom owned this kit at one point, and then Dominic sold it to Van Campbell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Van Campbell has been writing an essay about the history of this drum set.
Wow.
And how it's gotten from point A to point B. And he's
Passed
asked
down.
me if I ever sell the kit to let him know so he can document where it ends up.
Wow, that is amazing. Is that local? Here local?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. So not only do we have the history of musicians, we've also got the history of musicians drum sets that have been passed around from
and
multiple
you'll see that,
bands.
That drum kit will be at the Limbo.
Yeah, and I hope everybody knows who Slint is. They're a Louisville band. I call them math rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very math rockish. Yeah. What year? Probably
91.
90s? Yeah.
March 91. That Spiderland came out.
Yeah, 91. Yeah. You just are walking knowledge of encyclopedia of all kinds.
I've always said, put me on Rock and Roll Jeopardy. I will win. I will beat Mark McGrath.
I definitely believe that. You'll definitely beat Mark McGrath by a long shot. Yeah, so anything else going on that we want to talk about before our first break? Because you brought all kinds of cool stuff that we're going to spin.
Well,
Let's start with the vinyl.
The first thing we have going here queued up, I guess, is Shimmy Shimmy Dang, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think
if it is queued up.
we will, we could do Out of the Gate, some Ladybirds. That was a fun song to drum on.
I bet.
Shimmy Shimmy Dang. It's got a very nice... almost Bo Diddley-ish kind of beat.
Oh yeah,
not
the
quite.
3/2 kind of clave thing.
But it's a little different. I don't know. You tell me.
All right. Well, let's see if I can drop the needle.
Is it dropping?
Shimmy, 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 dang, shimmy, go make you mine. Well, I'm burning inside to touch you, baby. I got a wiggle in my knee and a shakedown on my mind. Well, I just gotta find out, baby. I gotta look if I wanna see if you're my loving kind. Well, I'm fine, all down the line. Shimmy, 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 dang, shimmy, go make you mine. Well, show me that you know me, baby. Give me a little bit of love, give me love on the side. Well, come a little closer, baby. All we got is time, and time it's on our side. Well, I'm fine, all down the line. Shimmy, 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 dang, shimmy, go make you mine. Shimmy, 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 dang, shimmy, go make you mine.
Shimmy Shimmy Dang.
Yeah.
That's a fun track, and you can hear in there why you would be so good to back up Wanda Jackson. I mean,
well,
that kind of groove.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? You just have an awesome groove going on there.
Well, and so Billy Hardison over at Headliners recommended the Ladybirds to Wanda Jackson's
I love that.
husband, Wendell,
Okay.
who rest in peace, just passed away 2 years ago, maybe.
Was he a musician too, or
He
just
was Wanda's manager and husband.
Mm-hmm.
He was her handler.
Yeah.
Up until the day he died.
Man, I always thought about, it's interesting. A lot of these artists are married to their manager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they have to kind of accept their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And not everybody doing a 9-to-5 thing quite understands a musician lifestyle.
And they went through that, and she talks about it in the book, Every Night is Saturday Night.
Yeah.
And how they dealt with that. He had a great job, I believe, with like IBM.
Cool.
And he just decided to manage Wanda's career.
Yeah.
Gave all that
kudos to him for
Yeah.
doing that, because it takes
Yeah.
a very strong person to
Yeah.
manage someone like that, and
he
especially
really-
with a career as huge as Wanda Jackson's.
And through all these years, he really helped manage to make sure that Wanda didn't get ripped off by promoters, and make sure she got paid, and make sure she
Right.
got to the gig, and
Correct.
he did it all.
Yeah. Did she have like a tour bus that she used, or?
Well, here in these past few years, she's just been kind of going from town to town,
Yeah.
and then like she would meet us anywhere east of the Mississippi.
Okay.
She did take us to the Surf Ballroom in Iowa, Clear Lake, Iowa, to play the Winter Surf Party.
Cool.
The surf ballroom being the winter surf party. That's
Now, why do they
Buddy
have a
Holly
surf? Yeah,
and Richie Valens.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's crazy
Surf
though
ballroom.
that they name it the surf ballroom when it's in the middle of Iowa.
I know, right?
Nothing but
I want the surf
cornfields and
band to play there.
hippies. Exactly.
Take the surf band on tour just to go play there.
No kidding, but yeah, y'all would be great to play there.
Yeah, so
Buddy Holly, man.
Oh man, and I got to meet the Crickets drummer.
Oh wow, that's amazing. You've met
Jimmy-
some amazing
Jimmy Van
folks.
Eaton, who played with Linda Gale Lewis,
Mm-hmm.
and but he had that single with that band, the Little Green Men or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Jimmy Van Eaton, and he has
Yeah.
his own line of drumsticks too.
interesting.
Yes.
man, who? Awesome. You've
Jimmy
rubbed
Van
some
Eaton.
elbows with some really cool cats over the years. You know,
That's thankful and feel blessed because of that gig with Wanda. You know, and an on-air shout out to Billy Hardison for recommending the Ladybirds.
yay, Billy! We love Billy Hardison.
Thank you, Billy.
He's up on my my
Yep,
social
me
media.
too,
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of his, and I've played headliners like a billion times over the years.
It's a sweet venue, and they're expanding. I guess now with the Paristown Point right behind over here.
Yeah,
right?
that whole area has
Yeah.
blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drive through there. I have a lot of students over in that area,
Mm-hmm.
and just that area of town with the condos going up, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where the people who help my little Volkswagen when I need help with my
Oh, nice.
Volkswagen are over there. Yeah.
It's good that there's good people that can help.
Oh yeah, of course, always. Yeah. So we're also going to spin though a track here from Jaxon Lee Swain.
Oh yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I
Night
got to cue
Diamonds?
up Ray to Rock, man.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do some Night Diamonds by Jaxon Lee Swain.
It's a fun one. That's it.
There we go. It's Night Diamonds with Jaxon Lee Swain
Dig it if you can.
on LRS102.com, the Walrus Louisville's Rock Stream.
I saw you walking in my dreams with night diamonds. I saw a glimmer through the trees of night diamonds. I felt you coming, baby, in my mind. I heard you whisper to me in real time. You want the melon, honey, you get the ride. My clock
Give me Night Diamonds. I love Jaxon Swain, dude. Almost let that go across.
Every song's a party song.
Yeah, I was like, dude, what was the influence behind that? You do know?
Well,
Because I love me some Night Diamonds.
You know,
I'm gonna be singing that all day.
It's a good question. A lot of those songs he wrote, right after the breakup of the Ladybirds. So, I can only guess.
Yeah. I get it. Ding, 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 ding. The light bulb just went off over my head and was like, oh.
But
it's Jackson, I feel you.
It's
I'm
about
going through
love
that
and
too.
loss and rising above love and loss. And that's what it's all about.
Well, I tell you what, I don't want to get too personal, but I was like, if anybody knows about love and loss lately, it's the lack thereof love and a lot of loss. You know what I'm saying? Man, musician after musician, 2 breakups, heartbreaks, and
sorry.
Band breakups. Yeah. Though, bands move through projects, man. I'm a big fan, though, if it's something I've created myself, and a member is gone, then I don't continue on. I just like to leave it in that space and then start something afresh with being creative, because it's just too hard.
Yeah.
Don't you? Have you ever been in that situation where you've lost someone?
Are irreplaceable.
I agree. They are. People are irreplaceable, and
musicians have generally go through life trying to find their voice. And when they find their voice as a musician, and it's good and it's great, it's just irreplaceable.
I agree with that. I feel like I'm just in the past couple of years finding my voice.
Yeah, as a musician,
because I never focused on vocals, but I was always in the production end of it, because I worked radio and television, so I had all these editing skills, and I loved being in recording studios and learning about sound and studying up on hertz and just all kinds of different things, right?
Yeah.
But as far as my records go and putting out original music over the years, which I've done since my 20s, early 20s, I never really was on vocals unless it was a click off, like a 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. Yeah. And then when I started doing the record Welcome to the Queendom, which was with a Juilliard vocal grad who taught vocals, she was like, you've got this, everybody my whole life was always like, you've got this great voice, you should use it in your music. Yeah. But I always used it for my day job. I didn't use it in my music because I didn't know I hadn't studied vocals, nor did I think I would be good at vocals.
Right.
But then with my live girl band, I started doing this hip hop rapping stuff over top of the drumming.
And I've seen you do that on little clips online.
Yeah, just like little clips, and I'll do mashups of like 80s hip hop or something like that, 90s hip hop. Yeah, and I noticed people responded to it, and then they would come back out and be like, "Hey, are you going to do that rap thing again?" And then with the Welcome to the Queendom chick, and she said, "Man, you got to do some voices," and so she started making me write these little raps, and which I love. I always was influenced by hip hop and electronic music. Obviously, I grew up in a gay club.
The groove of it all.
Yeah, and I love dance stuff. Yeah. So
and that's our job as drummers, is to get people dancing.
Yeah, of course. That's what I always say. If I'm a drummer and I am playing for a bunch of people and I don't see them moving around, inciting movement in their body, which is the number one thing that rhythm is supposed to do, then I feel like I'm not doing my job. And it, Brett, it blows my mind how many people around here don't really, and there are so many musicians that do, but there are a lot of musicians around town that don't understand exactly what it means to be a great drummer, to have a great drummer versus someone who's just on a, just a normal mediocre style level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The number one thing is the dancing.
Agreed all around. I've always just tried to follow my own inner groove. And my inner groove is my voice. And it's also, I got to say that drumming is my therapy, and through that I mean, I've just learned a lot. And the surf band has really made me keep my chops together and really hone some chops that I didn't realize I had.
I hear you, man.
Wow.
Man, you've got great chops. I mean, I was always a fan. I can tell right away you know, that you are a badass groover. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Is badass a word? I don't know. A bad
hope
word,
so.
I mean.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. I tend to use that word a lot. I even have T-shirts that say badass across them, you know,
Right
just
on,
like
right
that.
on.
But, yeah.
Well, I mean, can I say Bitch Mitchell?
Yeah. You nicknamed me that, or somebody did. Maybe Mertz. I don't
think
know.
Mertz did.
Yeah. If
think
anybody
Mertz did.
doesn't know that story,
That's a great story.
Mitch Mitchell is actually the very famous drummer. He's like a jazz
Experienced
rock drummer.
Yeah.
From Are You Experienced? Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
So somewhere along my route with you and Mertz and that whole crew, I got nicknamed Bitch Mitchell,
Yeah,
which
and
was
it's
kind of like my
stuck.
stage personality. Yes, and I still go by Bitch Mitchell.
Why
I
not?
kind of love it.
It's beautiful.
You know, the word bitch to me is a complimentary term. I just love it. I'm like, oh, you call me a bitch? Great. Fantastic.
Oh, just own it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I've found when you own things that people call you, it takes their power away.
Exactly.
So I used to, like, somebody called me a troll one time. So I had a T-shirt made that just said troll and would walk around with it and take pictures with it. And then what can you say?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you are a troll. I'm going to have somebody call me punk ass bitch the other day.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was going to.
Oh, goodness.
Not only did I write a song about it, but I also was having a T-shirt made that says "punk ass bitch,"
I love
and I'm
it.
just gonna walk around with it. I think I just said like 5 cuss words. I don't know.
Yay.
Yay, we love that. But anyway, back to the voice story. Beverly McClellan heard me
Yeah.
doing that record, "Welcome to the Queendom," and then was like, "Dude, I love your bass underneath mine. You have this really deep thing that, like, that she always wanted." She said. So she was like forcing me to actually do vocals, and then a lot of the project ended up being on vocals.
So is your voice a baritone? Are you
You know,
low?
I think
How
I think
low can you go?
I don't know. I practice my Zen meditation
I do
stuff
that
a lot.
too. You know, you got to do an ohm every once in a while. Oh, how long are we gonna do this?
I don't know. We can practice our circular breathing.
It's good. It's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna also spin some this one right here, which let me pull up the sleeve. The Richie White Orchestra. Now tell me a little bit about this project.
Okay, so the Richie White Orchestra has a rotating cast of characters. Some of them live out on the West Coast. Some of them live up in New York.
Cool.
And some of us are here in Louisville, Kentucky. Cesar Padilla, the head of the Richie White Orchestra, he bought a house here in Louisville many, many, many years ago, and he's been around Louisville.
I like his look.
And
What is this on his? It's like a lapel
We're
or something.
looking at the inner picture of the Richie White.
Or is this? Is that a necklace right there?
It might be.
Because it looks like an ink pen.
He's into vintage clothing and
I can tell.
jewelry, vintage jewelry.
Dig the
all
look,
kinds of
dig
stuff,
the
yeah.
shoes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And no kidding. I love to look at picture art. Oh, and even better, on the back,
Yeah.
it's a mechanical horse
Yeah.
by itself that just says Star. And it's a White Horse. My first band ever was named White Horse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We picked it just from an atlas. We
That's
were
cool.
like, we couldn't figure out what to name the band.
Uh-huh.
And back then, now I feel like I'm a pro at naming bands, but back then we couldn't figure it out. So we just found an atlas, closed our eyes, put a finger down, and it landed on White Horse, Alaska.
Oh, cool.
And we were a country southern rock band, so White Horse fit.
Oh, wow. So everybody in the photograph here, first of all, this is a double 7-inch vinyl record.
Yeah. A
Put
double
out-
7-incher.
Put out by
Yay.
Self-Destruct Records.
Sorry, I had to.
Photography by Sarah Lyons. So this was definitely an
I know,
LGBT friendly band.
LGBT friendly, yeah. Well, you better be if you're in Louisville, Kentucky.
And look at me, I'm wearing pink.
I love you in
course.
pink. Every now and then I like to throw people for a loop and throw on some pink.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And so it's just an amazing group of
Sarah Lyons,
cast of
I know
characters.
really well. She's super cool.
She took this the photograph of
Yeah.
the photograph
Mhm,
for the
I love
cover
that.
of Jenny Brown. This is Jenny
Very
Brown on the
cool.
cover, and the song we're going to hear is "Come Home, Jenny Brown." And her story is an inspiration to
Jenny Brown.
to
Okay.
Caesar.
Okay.
So Caesar has a foot issue.
Uh-huh.
He was in a really bad car accident as a teenager, and nearly lost his foot.
Oh man.
And he still struggles with it today.
Yeah.
And so Jenny Brown had her leg amputated many, many years ago. And
Was she a
and
musician
Caesar
around
and
town?
her have been the best of friends ever since. She dated a musician, and Andy Willis. They're still friends.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I ask is Leanne Yost. I used to play with her,
Oh.
and she had a track called Jenny Brown, and I was like, "Is
Oh,
it the
wow.
same Jenny Brown?
Wow.
Is it this
I've gotta know
mysterious
now.
Jenny Brown that I don't know that I should
have to know now. I have no idea.
Yeah, figure that out for me. I'm curious.
I have to know. But Jenny Brown's story is an inspiration, and
Very
she's
cool.
an inspiration to Caesar. Caesar's
Yeah.
been struggling with the foot.
Man, I tell
And
you,
she has
anybody with
told
an
him- She has
amputee.
told him, like,
Yeah.
if your foot, if you end up losing your foot, you're not even going to miss it. Your
Really?
life will be 10 times better.
Wow.
Like.
It
and-
probably wouldn't hurt, and then you could have the
Exactly.
Yeah, I had an amputee in here not too long ago that was a musician that she didn't mind to talk about it, but she was like, I don't want people feeling sorry for me.
Sure.
She had an entire leg that was just
Oh, wow.
the rod.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's had it for years though.
Well,
so
Jenny's a
shout out to our
prosthetic.
amputees, man.
Yeah,
Prosthetics
absolutely.
that are still rocking.
Jenny's prosthetic is beautiful. It's it looks like a garden trellis with
Ooh.
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, we're about to spin some
Let's hear Come
music.
Home, Jenny Brown.
Yeah, let's hear "Come Home, Jenny Brown."
Dig this. This is fun. Oh, it's on the wrong speed. 45, girl. Just there you go. You got it. There it is.
There we go.
Good timing.
Yeah. We're remixing it up on LRS102.com, Generation Nation.
The Walrus.
Stay tuned.
because LRS102.com is a digital station, we can and occasionally do play some songs unedited, raw, and real, the way the artist intended. If this makes you feel uneasy, we apologize. But know that every time we play a song with a swear word in it, we drop some change in the swear jar. Then, once a month, we add it up and make a donation to Positive Change, a Louisville charity that works to help the homeless here in our own town. So we're not playing unedited songs just because we can. We're playing unedited songs because we can make a difference. Remember, the walrus is cussing for a cause. Yeah, you motherfuckers. LRS102.com, Louisville's rock stream.
That is Juanita. You're locked on to LRS102.com, the Walrus Jyneration Nation. I am the generator, Jen Yates, joined by the amazing Britt Holsclaw.
Yes, Brett Holsclaw here. Thanks for having me, Jen.
You're very welcome, man. It's my honor to have you up in here because you are like a walking encyclopedia of Louisville music and history.
Well, I try. I don't know. Juanita there. So that...
All-chick garage band, right?
Yeah, we just had a really great magical weekend at Turner's on the River a few weeks back with Antietam and Shark Sandwich. Have you heard Shark Sandwich?
No, but I love the name.
Yeah, Shark Sandwich came out of Girls Rock.
Did they really?
Louisville.
And I love Girls Rock Louisville.
It was a beautiful moment because Antietam, I think about, Tara Key, one of the greatest guitar players out of Louisville, really a game changer for young girls wanting to play the guitar. She started in 1974 or 5.
What's her name again?
Tara Key.
Tara Key, yes, I know.
She was
yes,
in the Babylon Dance Band. She did Antietam. So anyways, Antietam wanted to come to Louisville and play a show, and Tara was having an art show in a gallery, Surface Noise Gallery, and she wanted to do a show on the river, and we just put it all together at Turner's.
Very cool.
And
I
it was
love
like
Turner's.
it was like a passing of the torch from the old school punk rock Louisvillian punk rockers to the young Shark Sandwich.
I love that. Well,
really
I'll have to
cool.
remind me the next
really
time
cool.
they're playing. I would love to catch them.
Shark Sandwich. They're a duo. It's like seeing a young White Stripes or something.
And the Girlwood is blowing up right now.
Girlwood is blowing
Dude,
up.
they're awesome.
I'm torn between Girlwood and Sheila E. on Friday night.
I've got a gig on Friday night, so I can't go to either. Yeah.
I know,
but I got to meet Sheila E. last year and saw her
Tell me all
wagon
about
gig.
it. I want to know right now.
Well, it was kind of quite hilarious. I was actually with my girl Sue, who just passed away. And I actually am so thankful for that experience because the cats over at Triangle Talent called me.
Yes.
And said, I'm sure you've met Sheila E. since you're on a book with her. By the way.
I see it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Great
here's the book.
Let me see the book.
Yeah, we put the book up in the studio.
That's awesome.
Also, so yes, and I said, no, I have never met Sheila E., but that's a dream of mine. And they said, well, we're about to make your dream come true. And they said, you pick one guest and you can come down to the Chow Wagon and we have you backstage passes to meet her.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, are you serious?
Who
And they're
is
like,
this
yeah.
magical pixie fairy that brought you this
Her name is
love?
Pam Yates Pribble.
Oh,
and
that's so lovely.
Yeah, I've got some contacts to Triangle Talent, and they're big fans of mine and have been trying to hire multiple projects of mine throughout the years. Anyway, so I said, are you kidding? I thought she was joking. And she said no. So Sue had just gotten off work, and I said, hey, Sue, do you want to go meet Sheila E.? And she was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, no, I'm not kidding. We're getting ready to go meet Sheila E. I said, we need to be ready in like an hour. So she got ready. We come down to the waterfront. They get us on a little golf cart and take us back, and we wait for a little while. And there was like a line of about 30, but they said, we're going to put you in the back. So I took the book with me. And I don't know if she understood anything I was saying, because I'm a country southern raspiness, slangy, drawn out, everything. Sheila E. has definitely a more, a more Spanishy type background, Hispanic.
Yeah.
And so
Latin.
Yeah, there was kind of a language barrier there, but I kept pointing at the book, and I was like, this is me on a cover with you, who is my idol, And I think she thought that I meant to autograph it right there because she took a marker and just signed it right over my face on my book. I didn't bring the signed one in.
Oh, okay.
I've got only two copies, and that one is the copy that is not signed by Sheila E.
This is a great book. You're in here with Viola Smith.
Yes. Viola Smith. She's on the cover. Yeah, look at her.
Yeah.
She's still alive. By the way, I tried to land an interview with her, and she just recently quit doing interviews, and I was so heartbroken. But I've had some awesome, great female drummers that are also in that book on the show. Dawn Richardson, the drummer of 49 Blondes, called me the other day. She just formed a new band with Jane Weedland of the Go-Go's.
Yes.
That was a super
There's
cool.
Gina Shook, speaking of.
Gina Shook, yeah. There's all kinds of interesting female drummers up in there. Meg White's up in there.
Deb Peterson from the Bangles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who I met when I was in LA trying to get an interview with her. Debbie Peterson was at my show at Girlfriend in Los Angeles.
Oh,
and
Karen Carpenter. She played Vista Lights.
Yes, she did, and studied under Hal Blaine. She was one of the first female drummers I ever saw.
Lead sister. She inspired me.
Yeah, I actually saw her before I saw Sheila E. 'Cause I'm slightly old school like that.
Wow. Cindy Blackman.
Cindy Blackman Santana's in there, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's one of the only other ones I haven't read. What kind of card just fell out of that? It's like the Three of Clubs.
Three of Clubs just fell out of.
The Three of Clubs just fell out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm up in there next to one of the Mandrell sisters. They put me in the honky tonk country angels section, so I'm an angel. Did you know that, Brett?
I knew you were an angel. I've known that all along.
Thank you.
Flying too close to the ground, might I
Yeah,
add.
slightly, right? I am.
You know that old country song?
Oh, I love. That's Willie Nelson, if I ain't mistaken.
I think he does it.
He does a great, or he made it. You know, he had a hit with it. I think.
Honeysuckle Rose soundtrack.
I'm
That's
sure
the song
somebody
he's singing
did.
to, in the movie.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Willie Nelson. He's going through some issues and just had to cancel some tour dates, which is weird. I've probably seen Willie in concert more than any other artist.
Wow.
Around. I literally have seen him, when I think about it, maybe 12 or 14 times.
Wow.
And it's always, and I never get tired of him.
I refused to leave the fairgrounds when he played the Kentucky State Fair that year until he played Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. And it was the last song.
That's a great one.
He hasn't done it yet. And he left the stage and he came back out and did it.
What's the one my grandmother used to, so every time I hear Willie Nelson, I think of my Granny Dimple, who is my music, the reason why we all got music on that side of the family. But she played the dulcimer, the banjo, the organ, the piano. Loved to sing.
Very musical family.
Very gospel. Yeah, she was very gospel. She oil painted. She wrote books. She was a librarian by day. I mean, she literally did everything. She was an amazing character. She died when I was 16, maybe 15 into 16. But either way, she would always listen to Willie Nelson. So she really turned me on to him and Randy Travis and a lot of the earlier, not that they're early country, but that style of country really early on.
Yeah.
My other grandparents, they always listened to the vinyl, so that was more Tom T. Hall and Ray Price and just all these
Crazy
like
Arms.
super classics. Yeah. And my grandfather was military, so he just loved that old C&W country.
We
what
watched
I mean?
a lot of Hee Haw in my house too.
Yeah,
I remember seeing Wanda Jackson for the first time on
Hee Haw.
Singing
I have
Big Iron Skillet.
Yeah, here comes those crosses that we were talking about, right? That we're going to cross over.
Yeah.
My dad's best friend was a backup singer on Hee Haw, and when I worked in television for the first time when I was really young, I had to run Hee Haw in syndication. So I would watch it all the time.
But they would do those segments, like the hayfield segments.
Yes.
Like they'd spend a whole day doing different hayfield segments.
Yes.
And they would just edit them into the show.
And then skip to when I did the Hillbilly Swagger project with Bev. Our Drop a Trailer on Them, which Drop a Trailer on Them was the record name, and it was a la The Wizard of Oz. We would say, what would Hillbilly Swagger do to these chicks that were screwing us over? Well, we would drop a trailer on them, not a house, right, and leave the shoes. So in that track, we sample Hee Haw. We sample it's a hip hop song, but we sample the famous skit where are you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone? I searched the world over and thought I found true love. Yeah. And you met another and you were gone. Yeah. So I'll have to send you that. But that's what we're sampling Hee Haw in that.
I love that story.
Yeah. I got a lot of Hee Haw crossovers in my,
Yeah. Saw some of the Buck Owens and Roy Clark, of course. And saw
the best.
Merle Haggard for the first time on Hee Haw.
Yeah.
Any country I was exposed to.
Man, speaking of Merle Haggard, and you'll really appreciate this, I always credit him with teaching me how to play triplets.
Oh.
Because in his famous song, I think I Just Stay Here and Drink, he always goes, drums, break it down, and they do that big famous fill.
Right.
And when I was growing up, I was like, I want to know how to do that. How do I play that? And then it's in a ton of kabillion other things. Obviously a lot of us play 16th note triplets, but I credit Merle Haggard with teaching me those.
Wow.
Yeah, he had some of the best drummers back in those days. Him and Willie Nelson both.
All those guys had great musicians backing them for sure. So Wanda took us on the Outlaw Country Cruise a couple years ago.
Okay, tell me all about it.
And that was a wild trip from Tampa Bay to Cozumel, Mexico. And everybody from Mojo Nixon to Jim Lauderdale to the Mavericks to the Bottle Rockets to...
I dig the Mavericks.
The Secret Sisters. We met the Secret Sisters. They were great.
I want to meet the Secret Sisters.
Look them up. They're amazing.
I will.
We did a little tribute to Wanda on the boat with all the female artists doing one Wanda song each.
Very cool. What was your favorite Wanda song to play when you were playing with her?
Funnel of Love.
Funnel of Love? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Just off the top of my head, first, response. But they're all great.
No, I know.
I mean,
you can't go wrong.
Riot
It's
and-
Wanda Jackson.
Riot and Cell Block Number 9.
Riot and Cell Block Number 9. Wonder what her influence was behind that.
Maybe
Was she
we
in
should
jail?
play that song.
Yeah, okay, we'll play that one later. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds fun.
Funnel of Love, though.
Funnel of Love.
For sure.
But what about, I wonder what her influence was for, I'm always curious about why songwriters
Well,
write the songs that they do.
Elvis influenced her to play rock and roll. Like, she was
Right.
doing country, but Elvis really kind of encouraged her. Like,
Yeah.
you can do this, Wanda. You can do it. And she,
Yeah.
I don't know, and hemmed and hawed. And so she started doing, a rock and roll song on one side and
Yeah.
then a country song on the other side.
Right.
And that's how she rolled. Even on the LPs, one whole side would be rock and then one whole side would be country.
Country, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Two-
there's so
two
much
sides
of a
Wanda.
crossover, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of us artists have multiple layers and
Yes.
sides, and we're like an onion. You just keep pulling our layers away, and I was influenced early on by rock and roll, but I also was very influenced by old school country because of the radio background. And
I like to think of my musical tastes as being like somebody who likes all kinds of food. I'm an omnivore.
Mm-hmm.
I like it all.
yeah, me too.
I mean, I even like to listen to, some Beethoven or Mozart from time to time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Want to hear the Rites of Spring or something, just to
Yes,
chill
I
out.
have a lot of classical music influence,
I've been-
especially in my vinyl collection.
Been collecting a lot of the Louisville Orchestra records that came out on the first edition label too, and those have been a lot
Very
of
cool.
fun to listen to as well.
Yeah,
So-
speaking of which, you're on LRS, and we are famous for the homemade records.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, people want to give me their vinyls that have LRS 102, and I just got this one the other day,
Oh, is it the homemade album?
which cracks me
Another
up.
mule?
It's an older lady,
Holding the Pie. Yep.
holding the pie that says LRS 102 homemade album.
Yeah.
And on the back, from what I understand, they would take local artists and have them record a vinyl record. They put it out every year, and we're going to try to bring this back.
Oh, I love that story.
Yeah.
I think that's
So,
a great idea. Well,
yeah.
So, how many volumes did they do originally? If you're picking up the ball, is it going to be like? Is the next one going to be like volume 4 or 5 or? 6?
I'm not for sure, but I know that they did one every year from like 60s until maybe the 80s.
They did that many?
They did a lot.
I mean, I can only remember a handful.
Yeah. As far as I know, they did quite a few. And it's funny if you read some of the liners on here, who they thank, and some of the corporations that were around here that helped put
Ron
these together.
Clay.
They recorded it at Fultz Recording Studio, a lot of them, and Osambo,
Yeah.
which Marvin Maxwell educated us on.
Yes, yes.
But everywhere I go, when I now say that I'm working for LRS, they want to give me these records. So I just kind of keep this collection going.
Right on.
Yeah, and thank you for my CDs they brought me today, because I'm a big
Yes.
fan of all of these.
Yeah, I brought you Ladybirds and
Yeah.
Jaxon Lee Swain.
Yeah, I'm going to be spinning that Night Diamonds track, and I'm with you.
Oh, and Gonna Find You is a good one too.
Gonna Find You?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
And the artwork's always cool. Jackson's always just such an interesting cat. I would think he'd be a really great guy to,
He's a
just
lot
to
of fun
write
to be with in the van.
Yeah, I bet.
When we go on trips and stuff.
I bet,
It's a lot
yeah.
of fun. We have a good time when we go out
Yeah.
on the road. It's all about having a party. It's not
Mm-hmm.
we're not taking a bunch of Debbie Downers on the road.
Yeah, that's good. That's
You know,
good. Yeah.
just- yeah.
We were just talking about it off record that I was working more on my sobriety and working on more playing with people who are more on the sober end of things.
Well, I'm not
these
sure
days.
that's this bad. But
I need my sound effects.
We certainly love to drink bourbon from time to
Yeah.
time to time.
Well, I just,
You know.
I quit drinking because it's just not
It's
good for
tough.
my body. It is. And,
tough.
when you're a musician and,
tough.
again, I'm trying to graduate from the bar scenes. I'm just
Yes.
like, man, it's so tough when you're around everybody and they're just shit-faced. Oh, I said shit-faced. But, it's hard to play with people like that. And I got to looking back at my career and going, everybody awesome that I played with was sober. Like Beverly McClellan, she was completely sober. She did not believe in drinking
Yeah.
at all on stage, especially.
Yeah.
So if I was surrounded by that influence, I never would,
Yeah,
And then
oh, yeah.
Kelly Ritchie was sober when I played with her. Julie Wolfe, completely sober. Of course, all the theater cats that I've played with, mostly sober. I mean, you'd have the horn section sometimes with their little
Theater.
flasks.
Some place where you need sobriety.
Yes,
You have
correct.
You have to have sobriety to
Right.
theater.
And I just got to the point where it was like, oh, I don't want to play bars for the rest of my
Sure,
life. I don't want to
sure.
be known as Jen Yates who played bars the
I'd
rest
kind
of
of
her
like
life.
to do a little acting myself. I've often thought I'd like to do a little theater.
I could see you
I
in
did a
theater.
little bit of theater in
Yeah.
the late 90s. I did a play called Corpus Christi by Terrence McNally.
I've been there. I have family in Corpus Christi.
It's a play about what if Jesus Christ and all of his disciples were gay.
Oh, well,
And
I
set
mean,
in Corpus Christi in a modern time.
I know
So-
that people will probably think this is a bad thing, but I'm like, he was a dude who was single, never married, and hung out with 12 dudes.
Yeah, I mean, you know. it's-
And he had 2 dads. Just saying. Just saying. Sorry, don't hate me. I do consider myself a true Christian, but at the same time,
you know.
the point of education is to question things.
Well, yeah, and you know, and then the moral compass, you know, hopefully comes from, you know, a good place and whatnot. You
Yeah,
know,
of course,
Treat
yeah.
each other as
Yeah,
as
I
you
think
wanna be
that's the
treated,
message is
golden
just
rule,
groovy. Just
you
be
know.
groovy, man. And,
Yeah.
if you treat people bad, trust me, that karma's coming back. And I've seen it
Exactly.
a lot lately. Just, I try to do as much good things for the world as I can, raise money for
Yes.
charity. By the way, speaking of, we didn't get back to Girls Rock Louisville, but
Yeah.
the She Castle event that I just produced, which was considered probably the first all-female music festival in Kentucky.
Wow.
It was the only one to have all females on stage because a lot of these benefits that they have, they'll have like women singers, but they'll have like an all-guy backing band. So when I met Bev, we were on stage at Michigan Women's Music Festival, which was an all-female run thing. So I thought if they can do it in Michigan and Ohio and all these other places, why can't we do it in Louisville? So we did, but we're donating half of the proceeds that we raised, which we have yet to give them their checks, but that's coming soon, is going to Girls Rock
Girls
Louisville.
Rock. Hey, you know that little thing we did at Turner's I was just talking about?
Yes.
We did a percentage of the funds to Girls Rock as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They
So-
have a lot of support behind them. And
It's a
shout out to Carrie
fantastic-
Newmeyer.
Carrie Newmeyer's awesome.
Shout out to Selena
All of
Felicia.
them.
I can
My
never
girls
say her
in
name right.
Juanita, they did some classes.
Yeah.
They taught some of the classes with
Very cool.
at the camp.
Yeah, I'm all about any program that can get kids playing music and keep them, playing music and staying in music or anything artistic
Absolutely.
outside of sports. I'm a big sports fan myself, but I also believe it teaches a lot of not great things, concerning competition and things like that.
You learn about what's best for the song. You don't learn about competing with each other or for volume or whatever.
Right.
You learn about how to play with your fellow
how to get
bandmates.
together with others,
Yeah,
right? And there's
and that's important.
I agree. But I've had a lot of things in the past happen where people destroyed a kid's drum pad or people, just horrible
Bummer.
things. These are horrible things, and you just don't take music away from kids or children, and you
Agreed.
I'm also a big fan of don't force them to do it either, because you do want them to do it on their own, but you should at least, I think it's a basic human right that every child has some sort of artistic creativity, music around them, something.
Yeah. I think music is a special language. It's like it's its own thing. It's therapy.
Yeah, it is therapy. I also
it's empowerment too.
It is, and it gives. Well, I've seen it give them kids confidence.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
changed their. They may be going home to a broken home with a horrible father or something like that, and they have something to turn to instead of so that they can drown that out. There's a lot of different facets to it, but I do love being a creative artist, and I consider you a creative artist as well.
Thank you.
You're not just a cover band type of artist. You're not just that. You're on a different level. I feel like artistry is a different level than just playing.
Let me just say, I do a lot of original music, but when I do approach a cover, I want to do it, as straight up and honest as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to. I like the surf band. They're all covers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to adhere, like Mel Taylor from The Ventures. I'm trying to do what Mel did.
Yeah.
He's a drum hero right now. I've been listening to a lot of Mel Taylor.
Yeah, he's a badass. There's so many good drumming badasses out there,
Agreed.
But instead of just playing the notes, what I mean is you're a creative artist. You write your own drum parts for many years. You've been in so many original bands that have put out records over the years, You just are. I feel like there's just a different level of artistry when you can create your own for people to listen to rather than just mimic something else.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've strived for greatness and perfection, but it doesn't always happen. But it's always fun no matter what.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
if it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
Correct.
That's my rule.
Yeah. I've gone up and down with fun in music a lot lately.
Yeah.
Like, there was most of my life I've done music because I love it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then it got to a point where I was just doing it and it was mundane business.
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy it then, you
Yeah.
know, and then, or you'll be happy in a project and then that falls, something happens, life happens and it
yeah.
falls
Life.
apart. And then you're heartbroken again. And
Yeah.
then sometimes, sometimes I went through periods of time where I didn't ever want to play again.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kept getting calls for gigs and saying yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that'll kind of open up for me a little bit too. So one of the guys I've been playing with in the surf band is Jimmy Brown.
I
one
love
of the
him.
Founders of Guitar Emporium.
By the way, I get to play a gig with him
Yay!
at Louisville Pride on Bardstown Road coming up in September. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm coming to that.
Cool, you should.
I can't wait.
Yeah, just so you know, we're backing my She Castle band with Jimmy Brown is backing LaVon Fisher Wilson, who's a Broadway star from Louisville. She was in the original Newsies as well as The Color Purple on Broadway behind Fantasia. Yes, and she has a project here called The Queens of Funk and Soul. And it's LaVon Fisher Wilson and the Vondettes.
Well, Jimmy will bring it, I promise.
Yeah, they
He's
have like
amazing.
6 background singers with the attire. They have band practices for dance moves and the whole nine. So
I'm
it's going to
sure
be awesome.
Jimmy has his homework cut out for him. I'm
Probably.
sure.
We haven't even got that set list yet, but
Yeah.
it's going to be fun.
Oh man,
Yeah.
he's gonna bring it. He will. He does every time.
Well, I don't get to play with him often, but I
with
want
so
to.
many cool people. He played with the Impressions.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, he's played with everybody. I want to get him up on this show, too.
I mean, it just blows my mind the amount of gigs he's done, and he's got some stories too.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's straight groove. You know what I mean?
All about it. It's infectious, that groove of Jimmy Brown's.
I know, and I love him because he smiles so much. So I just can't
Yes.
wait to like play off of him and just smile back at him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because I love to smile when I play. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
You don't look so angry, and
Oh yeah.
a lot of times the people just ignore the drummers in the back, and I definitely have always been opposed to that. Like I want to know. I want you to pay attention. You know. Yeah. So I feel like Jimmy Brown's just one of those guys that you just have to pay attention to.
Hey, well, let's drop this Get Down.
Yeah, let's
track
do it. Let's
because,
see how good my
speaking of
my
Jimmy Brown.
vinyl skills
Now, Jimmy's
are
not
here.
on this track. This is Bobby Falk,
Is that it?
Mike Standifer on bass, and Chuck Sharp. That's it. This is The Endless Summer.
The Endless Summer, it's the Get Down. You're locked onto LRS102.com. Stay tuned. I'm Jen Yates with Brett Holsclaw. All right, that was the Get Down. Tell me a little bit about recording that.
Well, okay, so I'm not on that record. Neither is Jimmy Brown.
Okay. That's hilarious.
But I love those guys. That's Bobby Falk on the drums. We talked about him earlier. And Mike Standifer on the bass.
Yeah.
He's an amazing bass player. And those guys, again, life just kind of unfolded, and it's a little bit of a different band now. But this record, they recorded it at the Musicians Union Hall with 2 microphones.
Represent up in the Highlands, you mean?
Yeah, with 2 microphones right in the middle of that cinder block room.
Yeah, I know
and
exactly
then just
that
all the
room.
instruments on the stage, and yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Just
I
2
love our
mics.
Louisville Music Union here. Are you a part of that, I guess?
I'm not. I kind of wish I was.
Yeah.
I need to get better at learning how to read. I'm not a sight reader.
You can read, man.
I mean, like music.
Yeah.
I mean, I can play music all day long by ear, but
Yeah.
was never a sight reader.
Yeah.
There it is.
You know what you need to do is, and this is what because you already play so well and you say you don't read, is get like something as simple as like an AC/DC track and get the music for it,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
then just sit and watch the music kind of go across as it's being played. Eventually it'll get stuck in your brain that, oh, I see what's going on here. Well, that's just this, or that snare hit is that, you'll start to visualize it. And there's so many programs today that you can get for that.
I'm going to look into that.
I can always help you because I actually
Would you
love.
really?
I would
Aw.
because I love to teach the written notation form of music.
I need to get
Yeah.
better at that.
And everything you read in music can be written like 3 or 4 different ways. It just depends on how you look at it.
And I just don't want to join the union until I know that. Like until I've got until that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I feel you, but I don't think you that is a big deal with that.
I would do it though. It's
Yeah.
I feel like it's a great thing, the musicians union.
Yeah,
for sure.
So real quick, you've got a show coming up with the Glasspack coming up. We talked about the Glasspack earlier.
We did.
Yes,
It's
and you all go back. You had a 10-year reunion 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Because y'all were around when I first moved to Louisville, which was in 1999, or slightly thereafter is when I kind of got hip to the Glasspack.
I think the first Glasspack show was that New Year's Eve. I think 99 into 2000.
Yeah.
I believe.
So I remember as soon as I got here, being in the underground music scene kind of thing, learning about the Glasspack.
And I was about the second drummer, maybe.
Yeah.
Brian Four was the first drummer.
I was going to laugh and say, how many people have rotated through that group?
Through
Because
the drum set. Well, let's see. Brian Four, myself, Greg Morris was a drummer, a live drummer. He's not on any of the recordings. Eric McManus.
Jen Yates
Tony-
has not drummed for the Glasspack.
Tony Remniak.
Nice.
Yeah, all drummers for the Glasspack at one point or another. You brought up AC/DC earlier, and I brought a Glasspack track where we cover AC/DC's Rock and Roll Singer.
Heck
And
yeah.
this was on a label out of Detroit called Small Stone Records. And they put out a couple Glasspack records. And
and we're going to spin it right here on LRS 102.
Yeah, let's
Remind
hear it,
everybody,
'cause it
though, when
never-
your gig is with the Glasspack.
it's September the 7th at Headliners.
September the 7th at Headliners.
Yeah, there's a lot of good bands on the bill. Sound Company, Worms, Call Me Bronco.
Call me Bronco. All right. This is the Glasspack. You're locked on to Generation Nation 102.com. Ow. The Walrus.
It's all a dirty lie. Stick your golden handshake and stick your silly rules and all the other shit that they teach the kids in school. I ain't no fool. Gotta be a rock and roll singer. Gotta be a rock and roll star. Gotta be a rock and roll singer. Gotta be a rock and roll star. Rock and roll singer. Gotta be a rock and roll star. Gotta be a rock and roll singer. Gotta be a rock and roll star.
I love that. That is the Glasspack.
Paul Helvey on guitar.
Nice.
Maybe y'all remember Paul. Maybe y'all remember Paul Helvey from Arch.
Yeah, man.
maybe.
Again, you're like the punk rocker that knows literally all this so underground stuff. You've just been out and about in the scene for so long, I feel like.
Yeah, I've met a lot of folks that play music around town, and I've just
Yes,
kind
you
of
have.
held on to those relationships where people take me playing music seriously. I kind of got made fun of probably because I took it too seriously sometimes, maybe.
I don't think you can take it too seriously. Like I feel like I get a bad rap for that too, but I'm just very,
But
when
let the naysayers have their,
right. But every time, you do a project, I want to know that people are serious. I don't want. I want to make sure that they're not on my end just thinking it's a big party because I have an outcome that I want to happen with it. And goal set, and especially when you're doing original music, you want to get this stuff out. I've dealt with too many people who. We got all the way through like years of recording and then didn't put the stuff out. And then I'm like, well, I feel like I wasted my time because I did all this work and made all these creative parts and these cool drumming things. And then boom, nobody gets to hear them, so.
That's a bummer.
I know, well.
Those pieces of music are like your children.
They're babies. I talk about that a lot. Like every song you put out is a baby. I've been writing full lately. I've literally written like 25 tracks for a solo record called Herstory. And it's like me being the lesbian female Eminem, ripping everybody a new asshole. I said it. You know what? I kind of feel like I play a character though in the music, and I am just channeling like all my anger throughout the music just to get it out of my soul.
That's why music is therapy.
It is,
That's
yeah.
why it's also therapy. With all the craziness going on in the world, you got to have some music.
Yeah, and of course I use mine for mental therapy for myself. You were talking about using drums for mental therapy, and I do that too.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where we're going back to the whole finding your voice part.
Sure.
Once I finally found my voice, I was like, I can channel all kinds of stuff through here. Mm-hmm. And I usually write by myself. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a reclusive writer.
Do you write on piano? Do you write on guitar?
I usually write around beats, but I've done a little bit of everything because I do play like basic chords on piano,
and
I know
some chords on the piano. That's important to know how to do.
Yeah, I know inverted, and I love dissonance. The ones that are all side by side, those are just really cool and weird, clashy, oldie to me. But usually, I've written different ways, and I've taken classes on that gave you prompts that you had to write around, and had like a week or two to like produce something and send it in for everybody to listen. I love that.
So you're given a deadline.
Yeah. They'd be
nice.
like, okay, today you're writing about a solar eclipse. They'd give you some kind of prompt, and then they'd give you a musical prompt, and it must be in F sharp, or something like that.
Wow.
And then you had like a couple weeks to actually come up with something. This girl that I knew was doing this constantly, and she's like, you ought to get involved. So I did with her. And I got so much material out of that because it was forcing you to do it every day. Because just like anything else, songwriting is like, you've got to do it every day to get better. Yeah. But what's weird about me, Brett, is that I usually come up with an idea or concept of what I want to write about. Or let's say just for example, lately there's been, there was a relationship breakup that really broke my heart. It involved, and this does go back to the bowling ball that I picked up this morning. And it goes back to this girl who's getting married to this bowling ball champ, right?
Oh.
So I was very frustrated and heartbroken over it.
Yeah.
And I thought, what can I do but channel it through my music?
Sure.
So I wrote a song about 300 not being, so 300 is so badass. And and I wanted to do a video a la Miley Cyrus on her wrecking ball where I'm making out with this bowling ball.
Oh, wow.
And like the bowling ball is the person. So the influence came from something that happened in my everyday life. It sounds very odd, but you know, it was just me channeling my stuff through art. And a lot of the songs that I got was like 25 different songs for this new thing is, you know, they're all over the place, but mostly electronic because I love electronic. I love programming beats, stuff like that, playing MIDI stuff over top, getting effects and, you know, the voicey things. And
then grooving with it on acoustic drums.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I let all the songs organically happen.
Sure.
I don't try to have too much of a preconceived notion, except for this is kind of the idea that I want to do.
Sure.
And then I sit down and I write and I let it naturally flow. And then I'll go back and edit because I'm an editor by nature.
The process.
And go, I don't like that, or I do like this, or I want the stain upon her dress as a mighty, mighty mess as a hook. You know, I'm a hook girl. And then I would be like, I don't like everything else. I'll cut that out. Yeah. Oh, every great song ever known to mankind pretty much has a hook.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's why I train musicians that are so in depth with the training and the reading and the orchestra stuff have a hard time being the creative side of the musician because their brain is so in depth with theory. It's hard for them to write like a 3 or 4 chord song. It seems mundane to their brain musically, but for the world to adapt and to be able to listen, you've got to draw them in somehow.
You know, one thing. So I do some writing at home myself. I keep notebooks of lyrics and words, and I'll write lyrics down or poetry or stanzas or haikus or, you know, just some ideas will come up, and I'll write it down. It might be 1 line, it might be 6 lines, it might be several stanzas. Yeah. I've woken up in the middle of the night and written down words. And then I have guitars sitting all around my condo. I've got one in the bedroom, I've got one in the living room, I've got one in the little office area. Right. And they're all in different tunings. I've got one in a 5-string open Keith Richards tuning. Because I broke the 6th string. And I just thought, well, what can I do with just 5 strings? Yeah. And I found online he wrote all those songs, Brown Sugar and all those great Stones classics. With that tuning. Yeah, that's awesome. Right. He talks a lot about that in his book about how he likes to detune to weird notes. So I use the guitar a lot in my process.
That's cool. And then I wish I played guitar more, but keys. I'm better at keys than I am guitar.
I've really taken to listening to a lot of flamenco stuff. I learned how to not use a pick and just use my fingers. The thumb thing. Oh, man. I've been really trying to hone that.
Yeah, I would think that was similar to like a banjo kind of style because Steve Cooley was in yesterday and he was talking about the thumb picking and how there's 2-finger picking and there's 3-finger picking, you know.
Can I tell you a Steve Cooley story?
Absolutely.
Okay, I love Steve Cooley first.
Me too.
I love him to death. So I sat in with Relic one time because the guitar player in the surf band is also the guitar player in Relic. Cool. And I went up to the Barrett Bar one Wednesday night a year or so ago, and I had my snare drum with me because they asked me to sit in, and their drummer couldn't make it that night. So I was sitting in. I just brought my snare and brushes up on the stage, and Cooley was on banjo. Cool. And Cooley looked over at Chuck and said, "Hey, your boy's dragging over here."
I love Cooley, man.
And I stepped away and I said, "Whoa, what's going on? You know, like, are you firing me?" And he said, "Yeah, man, it's just not working, man. It's just not working." And I said, "Oh, cool, badge of honor right there. I just got fired on the stage from Steve Cooley."
By Steve Cooley, man.
At the Barrett Bar.
At the Barrett Bar, right.
No, I mean, it was a learning experience for me because I was dragging. Yeah. And, you know, he's the banjo guy and those banjo players. Some of them don't like, they're purists about drums and bluegrass. Right,
exactly. Yeah, and we talked about that yesterday. Not the no drums and bluegrass, but just how a banjo is a percussion instrument almost. Exactly. So you have to kind of be hand in hand when you're playing with a guy like that. But yeah, the first time I met him was underneath that club at Baritones, the old Baritones.
I remember Baritones.
Yeah, and he was playing with Hog Operation, and he was playing Prince's "You Sexy MFer," which I was like, wow, that's interesting. Bluegrass doing Prince and a dirty song, But I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
They do creative things.
And I said, well, I'm glad you did that because I remember it. You
That's
know,
awesome.
It's crazy how music is, isn't it?
He's great.
Anyway, yeah. So, what else did you bring for us to spin?
Okay, on the
I wanna
turntable,
make sure we get everything in.
There's a talk in the social media world of Spot, my first band, doing a reunion. There's going to be a Tooligans reunion in November.
Oh, Tooligans, man.
And we
That's old
haven't
school.
set this in stone or anything, but I'm really proud of my time with Spot. That was a high school band for me, and I left those guys just so I could focus on graduating from high school.
Right. I get that.
And then they got Mark Ernst on drums, who now drums for his brother, Dave
Right.
Ernst. And
Right. Dave Ernst, I know him. Yeah.
And so anyways, Mark Ernst took my place in Spot, and we're going to hear a cut that Mark drums on. But I've been drumming with the reunited Spot, just to make up for quitting that one time.
Yeah.
You know, unfinished business, you know.
Unfinished business. It all comes around. So you quit the band and then later on came back to drum for him to make up for it?
Yeah, kind of. Like 30 years later.
Oh, yeah. It takes a long time. It just takes a long time to get over
Shit,
stuff
why not?
sometimes.
Here,
Yeah.
Ring that bell. I need
Yeah,
to cuss a
ring
little bit before it's
that
up there. Goddamn. Fuck, shit.
You say anything you want here.
Okay, so
We're
Proud.
going to donate money off to charity for you.
Proud is the name of this song.
All right, so we're going to jam out to some Proud. Let's
Yeah.
see what
Joey
happens.
Mudd on vocals, Breck Pipes on guitar,
Todd
Todd Cook on bass, I believe.
Todd Cook on bass. Oh,
Yeah.
Higher vinyl. It's this thing here is super wacky.
And I'm
I
not
tell
sure
ya.
about the speed on that. It's probably 33 1/3. That's it.
Let's find out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a 33.
Skate core.
Let's go skating, Brett. LRS102.com.
What do you say? See someone proud. Be how he wants to be. Proud to say, not down with a dead one. Well, we'll step to it. Not the one you think you did. Proud of you, no matter how the words go. We'll break to the rules. The pioneers, that's our goal. Proud to what you say. We're proud for this thing. Not down with a dead one. Well, we'll step to it. Not the one you think you did. Proud of you, no matter how the words go. Break to the rules. The pioneers, that's our goal.
There it is.
All right.
So that was a big deal. Can't you
Big
see?
deal, man. That was a big deal.
So both
Punk
those
rock straight up.
both those tracks from the Louisville Sluggers compilation on the Self Destruct label.
Yeah, you got to love that stuff. I mean, Louisville is so interesting. I talk a lot about this with the other artists about how here in Louisville, there's so many different music scenes, and a lot of those music scenes don't cross over.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you just said, you're playing in a surf rock band.
Yeah.
You can go watch a surf rock band at a tiki bar in Louisville. You
In
know, on
landlocked
Bardstown Road, you can
Louisville.
go up to the tap room and watch some metal bands,
Metal Monday.
with hundreds of metal kid heads, that are there just rocking out. Obviously, we have a great cover band scene around town. We have a great blues scene around town.
Blues scene's amazing.
Rock and roll scene has always been around here. That's how I met you, doing a lot of the earlier rock and roll stuff. We also have a country scene. If you want to go out to the county line, you can check out the country yeehaws out there.
I want to drop a country track before the top of the hour too.
Sure.
Can we go
Which
ahead?
track are we going to listen to on
So
this one? Number
is a band
6.
called Trim. A band I was in with Sue Bailey and Doug Maxson. Doug Maxson was in one of the first bands to. This is called Plague. Let's hear the tune. We'll talk about it later. I wrote this song, played drums, and sang it. There it is.
Trim.
I feel
Plague by Trim.
So that was the band I was in when I joined the Glasspack.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some heavy stuff. I love it.
A lot of fun in that band too. I wrote that song. That was the one song for that band that I wrote.
Yeah.
And it's just about. It's called Plague.
Yeah. What is it about?
It's
Plague?
just about like not wanting to. It's about wanting to live.
Wanting to live.
Yeah, really. I mean,
I go back and forth with that.
I walk on dead flowers. I feel the sun's powers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That whole, I've been doing a lot of, or in talks to do a lot of things with the American, like, suicide prevention and Kentucky suicide prevention because, obviously growing up gay in a small town and small little hometown, being the weirdo creative kid I was.
And I've always gravitated towards those types because of
I was always gender confused.
The affinity of the outcasts of society.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not
the
exactly sure
misfits.
why.
We're
But
the misfits.
I've always gravitated towards the misfits.
Me too. I think, it was really hard growing up. There was several times where I tried to commit suicide myself. I go back and forth with mental illness and PTSD that I'm diagnosed with. And as an artist, I feel like you're just supposed to go through ups and downs and be tormented sometimes, so that you can create. Yeah. But yeah, that's a very special, thing to my heart.
Yeah, I guess
trying to figure out why you're here, why you want to continue living, why. There's so many questions that we go through when we're depressed and whatnot. And coming out of that is so incredibly hard. Music helps, though.
Yeah, music has always been my medicine, so to speak.
Mine too, for sure.
I wish it would heal the, what I've got going on in my body.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I do want to talk about it because, if it helps somebody else, I want folks to know that
that's why
if you're HIV positive,
right,
which I am, yes, it is a struggle, but there are people out there for you. I've had depression issues.
Absolutely. When did you
surviving?
Let
with
me ask you a few questions.
For about 10 years now, I've been surviving with it.
And you obviously, you go. You're in 4 different bands.
Know,
you know what I mean? How do you find the energy? I can't even find the energy to want to deal with one band or two.
Well, I think the key to it all is just making sure you get your disco nap in on any gig night.
Okay.
Make sure you get your disco nap in. I read that in the Johnny Cash autobiography. He always said, always take a nap before on a gig night.
Really? That's interesting. I love that.
Try to take
I
a
love
nap.
a nap.
Yeah, right. Who doesn't love a nap?
I love to sleep. Since a child, I've always been a sleeper type,
my
just
favorite
really love
Beatles
it.
song, I'm Only Sleeping, when I wake up early in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, dream state is my magic land.
Yeah, right.
I feel like, and by the way, I feel like most of the stuff I dream actually does come true later on. It's very odd.
Wow. So maybe you're a little bit clairvoyant? Maybe?
Very. Wow. Oh, yeah, I can see spirits and stuff like that. I call it energy. I don't know what to call it, but I call it the Great Spirit. I see spirits, and I do believe that sometimes we have spiritual energy that's left behind after we go. And, sometimes in my 20s, it would scare the crap out of me. And then, it got crazier as I got older. It gets stronger and stronger, which is kind of odd. But I compare it to, have you ever been from a distance and you kind of can see some sort of gas coming out of the ground? And you can kind of see that there's some kind of weird energy, but you can see through it.
Sure.
It's very similar to that. It's very transparent, but you can obviously tell that there's something coming out of the ground.
Sure.
You can see kind of like little figures, right? Or movement of air, so to speak, right?
A hayfield, out in the country could have spirits wandering in it.
Exactly, And nowadays I have learned just to say, don't scare me. I'm aware of your presence.
Yeah.
How can I help you? People might think I'm crazy. I talk to them. What else am I supposed to do?
Sure, then that's part of your therapy.
Yes, exactly.
Because, if you're connecting, wow, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I just had a dream the other night. It was almost like real, but it felt, I woke up out of a dream and I had seen the person who crossed over come and they sat down on the edge of my bed.
Wow.
And the bed felt like it indented.
Oh, wow.
And it kind of scared me.
Sure.
But there was a message being told and they were like, I'm okay. Check on these people. Do this.
Wow. It's amazing.
It was very weird.
It's amazing.
And then I felt like I went back to sleep and then woke up and was like, whoa, did that really happen? And meanwhile, the indent is still on the side of the bed.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do believe in spirits, and I do believe in signs and paying attention to synchronicity and number
Numbers.
patterns.
I
And
love number patterns.
Me too.
I'm obsessed.
Me too.
Ever since I figured out that all of the digits in my birthday equal, when you get it, add them up and add them up and add them up and get it down to one digit, 8.
8.
8 is my number,
I forget what mine is.
which is an infinity symbol. Side, right?
I think mine's 9. It's either 1 or 9, but it's 9, 18, 7, 8. So
yeah.
if you do the math,
I love playing. Anytime
I'm big on releasing songs on certain dates too. Like there's certain dates, and even full moons are really good. By the way, we have a full moon
howling at
this
the moon
weekend.
currently.
Yes.
Yes, I took a picture of the moon last night.
Yeah, and Sheila E's going to be in Louisville, Kentucky. I mean,
know.
could life be any better right now?
I wonder if I could do both of those shows, like Girlwood and Sheila.
I would love to do Girlwood, play my gig, and see Sheila E, but
my
I just
God.
really, you book these gigs before you know what's going on,
Exactly.
and that's the thing about Louisville. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I've noticed when I booked for bands and stuff.
Yeah.
That you've got to pay attention to is there are certain dates to play here better than others. Like
It's true.
the Friday after Thanksgiving, you can always make bank. Because everybody's had all the family stuff.
Yep.
They're tired of, they're tired of the family. They want to go to the bar. They want to see a band. They want to do something.
A lot of those
they've
folks
been in-house.
are expats, ex-Louisville, have moved on to another city, and they're just coming back just to hang out with the
Exactly,
family,
yeah.
and
And
maybe
they're
they want
just-
to go out while they're
right.
in
Also,
town.
the weekend of St. James Art Fair.
Sure.
Great nights
Sure.
to play.
Yeah.
Everybody's out and about and strolling along, and they want to go do something fun,
Yeah.
But if U of L's playing in some kind of big championship basketball game, you don't want to play that night.
No,
you
it's
know what
true.
I'm saying?
It's true.
So you book these things not knowing that Sheila E's going to be at the fair, and then you go, yeah, why did I do that? Well, I can't cancel now, and
Well, if
it
I get
is
to
what
meet
it
Sheila
is.
E on Friday, I will tell her that you sent me.
Tell her that Jen Yates said hi.
Yeah.
Or just point to the book.
Yes.
I told you that's funny, right? That she thought, I'm pretty
told
sure
me
that
that, yeah.
she didn't know that was me, and she just autographed right over my face, not having a clue what I was saying. But she was cool as
I've been
all get
collecting
out.
her records, where she plays with Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
In the 70s. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
And then I've been collecting her dad's records, Coca
Oh,
Escovedo.
yeah.
who was on
Escovedo, right.
And Santana.
Yeah, I just saw a
He's got
video.
her dad's records are funky.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I
they're
mean,
great.
he's awesome. She obviously comes from a very musical background, been playing
Absolutely.
drums since a kid, and her dad, huge musician. I just
Yeah.
saw a video of them, the whole family playing.
Cool.
All some kind of drums and, and
That's-
guitar and everything else.
That's a family based around music, and there's a lot of love in that family.
Yeah.
It emanates from her.
Yeah.
You can tell that she
Right.
just had a beautiful musical upbringing.
Right, exactly, yeah. And, man, one of the best all-time female drummers ever to live.
Without question.
Without question.
Yeah.
Her, Viola Smith is up in there. Karen Carpenter, definitely
my
up in
God.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you even know? I know you know Cindy Blackman Santana. Do you know Allison Miller there, the jazz drummer? Great.
I'm not familiar with her.
Okay, she
I
has
saw
a
her.
band called Boom Boom Tick, and she just put out a record called Glitter Wolf.
Oh, wow.
And Julie Wolf, who hired me and took me to L.A., and we did Girlfriend together twice, produced Glitter Wolf, her record.
Oh, wow.
I've gotten to meet Allison. She is an amazing female jazz drummer based out of New York City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And has toured with everybody from Brandy Carlisle to, you name it. She's been with them. Natalie Merchant. She tours with Toshi Reagan.
Wow.
And has her own stuff. But Drum Magazine features her a lot, as well as, all these. She's really big in the publicity
Did you say
stuff.
Allison Miller?
Yep, that's her right there. Yeah.
Look at that bass drum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's cool, man. We have a picture together, and her hair literally is like, 6 foot tall. And I'm there with her, and I was like, man, that was a highlight
amazing.
moment. She's a fan of mine. I'm a fan of hers. She's just a badass.
Is it like a
all
big
around.
marching drum? Like a
Yeah.
30-inch?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I said badass. Oh, said it again.
Yep.
Well, Brett, we have about 3 more minutes. Is there anything else you want to discuss? I know, and by the way, we kind of got off topic, but kudos to you for, living with you with that and being open about it. And I'm a big fan of when you talk about things, it can open the door for someone younger who went through that exact thing. Because when I was growing up, I didn't have that voice.
Yeah, I always wish
to
I
guide
had
me with
somebody to guide me through all this. And
Right.
I've been with my partner now for 12 years. 8/8 is our anniversary.
8/8,
August
right. Gotta
We
love
just
that.
had our anniversary,
love
12
that.
years. Ryan Fenwick, he ran for mayor
Yeah,
here in Louisville.
I know. By
My
the way,
boyfriend ran
I
for
love
fucking
that.
mayor.
I know.
He
I
called-
knew you were gonna say that for
I
me.
had to. I had to.
Yeah, do it.
He, you know,
Ryan Fenwick, man, kudos to you.
let me just say this: proof positive that he's more punk rock than I'll ever be,
Yeah.
because he called for the firing of the police chief over the sex scandal and the SUVs
Yup.
and all that.
And as he should have.
Yeah, and
Just saying.
I just think that was so punk rock.
Yeah, it is punk rock. You know what? I've always said we need somebody on our side who's
Right.
who's balls out, not afraid to say what they think.
And he did,
And
too,
they're
during that
they're
campaign.
angry just like the other side,
Yeah.
but for the liberals, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
He's still out there working. Yeah, he just rode his bike to Berea for the big KFTC conference.
Yeah.
You know, he's a.
I mean, that's
he
straight
does not
punk rock
drive
there,
a
too.
car. That is.
Yeah,
It is.
If you don't drive a car, that's punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
try it out,
bucking the
people.
system.
Try it out.
Yeah.
See how much you like it.
It really
you know?
inspires me. I need to get my bike up in order, and he gets me
My boy
shit.
Nick-
I'm going to say it all. I'm going to say
By
it.
the way, no, you're good. My boy Nick Payne, who's in the Kentucky Beatniks with me, he does not drive a car either. He bikes everywhere.
wow.
He either bikes or runs or walks or
Fantastic.
does a bird somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get there.
Yeah.
I'm not quite
Which,
there
by
yet.
the way, I want to plug my show Friday night.
Yeah,
And if
plug
you
it.
don't go see Girlwood or Sheila E., we're up
Yes.
against some stiff competition.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
come to Joe's Older than Dirt and check out the Kentucky Beatniks. You can bring your animals. You can bring your
Oh, cool.
kids. It's
Bring
a
the
free
dog.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can eat. Their patio's pretty cool. You can do all kinds of games out there,
That's
and it's
awesome.
out in Linden. So come join us from 6 to 9:30.
Hey, we're going to finish with one track.
Yes,
there.
we are.
So
Let's
this
name it.
Let me talk about it real quick. This is Joe Manning and Leota.
Okay.
And this is a completely different drumming experience for me. This is a storytelling, country-flavored kind of song. And I learned a lot at this recording session. It was at the funeral home with Kevin Ratterman.
All right, I've recorded there
It was
with him.
beautiful. Talk about spirits.
Yeah.
And I felt the spirits.
Literally, you're recording over top of dead people.
Yeah, I felt the
was- yeah.
spirits when we recorded this. This is called At the What's on Fire, and that's how we're going to end it.
All right. Well, Brett, it's been an honor to
Thank
have
you
you
for
on my
having
show.
me.
As always, y'all, tune in tomorrow and stay groovy. We've got Bob Ramsey in tomorrow.
Oh,
on
Bob
the
Ramsey,
show.
Generation Nation.
Bob Ramsey, Generation
yes.
Nation, right? And we have Sydney Majors at the end of the week Friday. She's in Juice Box Heroes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're a cool band over on the Indiana side. But anyway, stay tuned and tune in tomorrow for all that.
Awesome. Here's Joe Manning.
Were laid off last summer, and our rent is 3 days late already. Well, the yard looks like hell, and the neighbors won't wave no more, and there's weeds growing up through the cracks in the floor. Well, I've been up all night. It's an old good time.